Ladies and gentlemen, this is Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. And the show starts right now.
This is a Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie breaking news alert. This is a Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie breaking news alert. This is a Red, White, and True with Ed and...
All right, folks, welcome to Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. Didn't know if Ronnie was going to make it, so what's going on?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good late evening. I apologize for the 1 hour delay, but my little pumpkin head had color guard and a parent meeting, and I'm the parent, so I had to go. But yeah, we have got tons of stuff to cover. Well, I guess mainly just one major thing that we need to cover. So
yeah, but there's still leftover from all of the other major stories from the weekend, and
yeah,
so we could be here for days.
Oh yeah,
we won't be, but we could be. I noticed.
You look frozen to me on my side. I don't know if it's my computer or yours or what. You look frozen.
I bet. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. You just look frozen, like you haven't moved.
I bet it was on my end because I was having some issues when I was on earlier today, and I think it buffered, and that would cause issues. But
gotcha.
You know,
Michael Sisk says hello. Tanya and Bill and Tanya say hello, and Bill and Tanya says we can't see Ed, so I'm guessing you are froze.
Well, you do some talking, and I'll be back.
Well, I will surely do some talking. So, obviously, big story of the day, the shooting in Minneapolis. I was busy all day. I was at work. It was an insane day. We took a many amount of calls, so I didn't get too much into everything that was going on. I thankfully have people that feed me information and send me things and all that, and I truly appreciate each and every one. So we are going to jump straight in. I'm going to show a couple of videos of the shooting. I haven't had a chance to fully go through everything. Some may be edited, some maybe not. So please forgive me. And if you have sensitive ears, mute your device.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood.
What the? I'm going to cut that one because I heard the F word way too many times. But unfortunately, a lot of them came from law enforcement. It wasn't just the spectators. But what happened was ICE was approaching a car, trying to open the door. That was just one angle. I have another angle. Trying to get this woman out of the car. She didn't stop. She actually went left, and one of the ICE agents engaged her with his firearm, and unfortunately, that woman died. Here is another, a little bit closer up view of it. Okay, so there were those two, and I'm going to show one more, and then we're going to discuss this because this needs talking about. Now, this one right now is extremely slow motion, but you can see the ICE officers, you can see the vehicle, and you can see exactly what happened. I'm going to pause that right there, and I hope you can hear me. You see, this officer right here was trying to get in the vehicle. She had reversed, put the car in drive, and on the other side of him is another ICE agent standing in front of the vehicle. This right here, you can see his weapon drawn. She took the car out of reverse, the vehicle, put it into drive, and obviously hit the gas towards one of the ICE agents. And as she hit the first ICE agent, he fired his weapon one time. He fired two more times, and then the vehicle sped down the road and I believe crashed into another car.
He did. Or it did.
He did. It did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was two cars parked back to back, and it plowed into the back of one, and that one hit the car that was in front of it. So,
Gotcha.
but before we talk, as a pastor, no matter what we end up talking about tonight, a woman lost her life today. And for whatever reason, whoever is involved, it didn't have to happen. Nobody woke up this morning thinking this is what needs to happen in Minneapolis. So let's say a word of prayer. That woman has family, loved ones, and so let's
Please do.
Father in heaven, I come to you just now, and while times like this today, I don't know anything about her, but I know that she has loved ones, I'm sure, that already are grieving her loss. Father, I pray peace and comfort for her family, her friends, and her loved ones. Father, I pray for peace around our country. We know that a major incident in Minneapolis a few years ago caused nationwide riots. And Father, we just don't need that. So I pray for peace in the streets tonight and in the days that follow. Once again, as we always do, I pray that Ronnie and I would say and do the right thing. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, I have a feeling that I'm probably going to freeze occasionally.
I think you already are, actually. And for those of you that watched through the prayer, I did open my eyes a few times, but that's just because I lost all hearing. I didn't hear anything.
So those videos are going to be played over and over and over again in the days and weeks to come.
Yes.
Ronnie, you come from a law enforcement background. You've been trained as a law enforcement officer.
Yes.
I heard the rules of engagement for ICE and the DHS. If their life is in imminent danger, whether it's them or one of their partners,
Yes.
then deadly force is authorized.
Yeah. We were discussing this earlier. Could he have used a taser? Yes. But technically, a vehicle is classified as a weapon, especially if an officer or somebody is standing in front of the vehicle. She had every opportunity to take her foot off the gas and put it on the brake. She had every opportunity to put that car into park. I'm not going to sit here right now and say it was all her fault. I'm not going to sit here and do that. I haven't done any more research. I haven't done any more other than the videos that I just showed. I've been busy all day. But yes, if an officer is trying to get you to stop your vehicle, a vehicle is classified as a deadly weapon, and him pulling his firearm, to me, off the cuff, and I'm not trying to play Monday morning quarterback. Me off the cuff, he made the right choice. Two agents were trying.
And I think most people on the right side of the aisle are saying that, and I don't know why a law enforcement involved shooting that ends up in a death has.
You may need to completely restart because you're frozen again and your voice keeps cutting out, unfortunately. Let's see, we're getting a few comments here. People need to stop trying to stop them. ICE or anything, let them do their job. No one will get hurt, killed if you just let them do their job the right way, safely. Absolutely. And I understand. They're trying to do their jobs. People are rioting and complaining already. I mean, this video right here. They're eating in a restaurant.
No, you all need to get up. Excuse me? You heard me. My staff says you were out front hassling people. You don't get to sit here, eat our tacos, and terrorize the same comunidad. Out, cabrones. Then go find someone.
I mean, is that necessary? Is this is getting to be too much. The first thought in my mind was, oh my gosh, here we go, another George Floyd. And I really pray that this does not become another George Floyd. We can't take, the nation can't take that anymore. And I haven't heard any news on Minneapolis right now, or any other cities for that matter. I mean, I don't think they've burnt down buildings or anything. At least I hope not. I pray. Right here, I do have a woman kind of explaining the shooting a little bit more.
This is what the Democrats want you to see.
No! No! Shame! Shame!
Here's another angle that clearly shows the woman trying to run the officer over with her car. Still not convinced? Look at this angle. She tried to run him over with her car. He had a split-second decision to make. He did not know if she, within a tenth of a second, less than, went like this with the wheel, he would have been dead. So yeah, if you're gonna run an ICE officer over with your car, there will be consequences. And the Democrats have been pushing this narrative for a year that ICE officers are horrible. They've brainwashed their party into believing that you should run ICE officers over with your car. That's so dangerous for everyone involved, for the ICE officers, for this woman who tried running an ICE officer over with her car. And it's so unfair because the ICE officers are working tirelessly every single day. They are putting their own lives on the line to help the American people, to make a better country for us. If you don't see that, you are brainwashed. It's very sad.
Unfortunately, I have to agree. If you don't see that, then you're brainwashed. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I kind of get it because people here illegally, I'm sure they've made friends. I'm sure they've made, colleagues, spouses, stuff like that. But let me go back and say that again for the people in the back that didn't hear me. They're here illegally. Okay. So I apologize for that. But however, that's not a Ronnie problem. That's not a Pastor Ed problem. That's not a you problem. That's a them problem. They're here illegally. Donald Trump is president now. All of that's changing. Bye-bye. You knew this was coming. They gave you opportunities to get out. You didn't do it. They gave you money. They were going to send you home for free, plus give you money, and they didn't do it. So I really, really, really have very little concern with that. ICE is doing their job. Let them do it. They're federal agents, and with them being attacked, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, the other part of that, Ronnie, is that it's not just illegal immigrant issue. It's now they are investigating the fraud issues, and so
Yes.
ICE is involved in both of those, and
Yes.
so that part of it makes me, it makes me want to gag when we hear the
You cut out again. Makes you want to gag when you hear the mayor.
There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now, and justice is what we've all got to get.
Let's listen to the governor.
Good afternoon. Today I'm joined by Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson, Colonel Schaefer of the Minnesota National Guard, and Colonel Bogojevic of the Minnesota State Patrol. This morning we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We've been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident, but we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this: I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this: please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Bob Jacobson of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety.
Mike was muted. Pastor Ed's having some computer problems, some camera problems, so he's going to be right back as soon as possible. I posted during that video, why does he look like Bernie Sanders? You know, I never put two and two together, but wowee, does he look like Bernie Sanders? And then here we go. You know, it says the National Guard, how come you didn't do it 5 years ago when you burned the whole city down? Good point, Michael. I really enjoyed that. You know, when it was actually truly needed, where was the National Guard? Oh, well, we didn't care about that then. We didn't care about that then. Military is ran by Trump. Yes, but unfortunately, the National Guard would fall under Minnesota jurisdiction. And until the day he walks out, which couldn't come any sooner, he's still got the reins. So after that little video, we could all use a laugh, right? Here's a goodbye to old Tampon Tim.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times, but it's...
And I plan on waking up on November 6th with Madam President.
Elon's on that stage, jumping around, skipping like a dipshit.
Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go.
I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people.
It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
There, that's better.
Thank you, Tim. You will not be missed. Couldn't say that more. So, sorry, I thought we just needed a little small break from everything to say goodbye to old Tampon Tim. You will not be missed. But anyways, calling in the National Guard, unfortunately, I can't see any member of the National Guard actually going against ICE. They're all part of the same arm. They're all kind of there for the same thing. Now, National Guard doesn't go after illegal immigrants, but why didn't he call the National Guard in when it came to all this Somali fraud that's going on? You know, why does he have to do it over one incident where a woman clearly disregarded instructions, clearly engaged an officer, and clearly could have ended an officer's life? It just so happened to turn around that it ended her life. I pray for her family. I pray for her friends. I pray for her. I hope she was right with God. I hope she is in heaven right now. However, here on earth, she made the incorrect decision to put that car in drive and head towards the officer. And like we discussed before, as far as law enforcement goes, a car is a deadly weapon and definitely can kill. I mean, obviously. So that officer, as far as what I've seen, had every right in the dictionary to pull that trigger and defend himself. And unfortunately, it ended a life. But we've got some more reactions. This guy here, he talks about it a little bit. I guess he was close by.
There were two people in fatigues, ICE agents, presumably. One was by the passenger side of the vehicle, one was by the driver's side of the vehicle. And there was a handful of black and white SUVs, license plates on some of them, front license plates removed, parked sort of kittywampus in the street. And I watched as a third person in full camo come and pull several times on the door handle, at which point the red vehicle reversed a few feet and started driving around, and the person who was by the driver's side originally, not the man who pulled on the door, but who was originally there, shot through the driver's side window, 3 times, and the car drove down the street a little bit more and then swerved into a car and then ultimately a telephone pole.
When you saw it happen, was that vehicle still moving? Was it at all going towards an agent at that point? Or?
I mean, so the agents had been on either side, so they just backed up a few feet and then drove forward again. Somebody else said that the vehicle had been stuck in the snow a little bit. So they weren't driving at a person with any intention of hitting them. They were driving between.
Sorry about that. Old dummy decided he wanted to take a break. That was kind of boring. It got, and the camera was blurry. What is up with that? Let's see here. I do have more reactions.
Well, I saw the video. It just turns your stomach. We need a quick and full investigation to get to the bottom of this. But when you have these ICE agents all over the streets of our cities without any cooperation with local law enforcement, local communities, tragedies, horrible tragedies, killings occur. Well, I've never been for ICE going into our cities, period. It doesn't belong there. And the mayors and county executives and others throughout the country believe they can handle it much better themselves than having people from the outside come in.
What's your message for the protesters down there? Should they remain civil?
Well, of course, there should never be violence, but there should be protest is an American right, and when things like this happen, people feel the need to protest and their right to do it. We salute them doing it.
Now, what he said there, ICE going in without law enforcement cooperation. Now, let's think about that for a minute. Does the FBI require law enforcement cooperation when they go into anywhere? If they go in and arrest somebody, does the Secret Service need law enforcement cooperation? Law enforcement doesn't need to cooperate with them. They're law enforcement, but they're different entities. Okay, so law enforcement takes care of local issues. ICE takes care of immigrations, customs, and enforcement issues. That's the difference there. ICE is not going to go in there and ask a lot of police because just like Congress, there are leaks that are going to get out. So let ICE go in and do their job. That's what they're there for. The FBI doesn't require law enforcement. No, they work with law enforcement, and so does ICE. Hey, he's back. Did you get it figured out? Maybe not, but that's all right. You can deal with me. I'm here with you, and I got plenty more videos. So we've got a couple here. He's back again. Hey. Let's see here. So old Tim Waltz, this was on the news, and we talked about him a little bit ago. This is some more of his press conference. His winning smile.
The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time, but it needs to be done safely. And I think the commissioner simply just laid out some of those parameters. We can do that. This is the peaceful resistance that we need.
So Donald Trump on January 6th, did he say anywhere in his speech to go out and protest? No. He said, go make your voice heard and all that. But that was claimed to be an insurrection. What did Tim Waltz just say? To go out and protest. Okay, yeah, go out and do it peacefully. How are people going to go out and do it peacefully? Have you ever seen a peaceful protest? Yes. The ones where they're dressed up like dinosaurs and vaginas and pink fuzzy hats and all that. Some of those are peaceful. But look at what happened with George Floyd. When it showed on CNN, a reporter standing in front of a burning building, they're mostly peaceful protests. Come on. That's ridiculous. So to me, old Tampon Tim just seems to be inciting violence. Go out and protest. It's your right. Yeah, it's your right. It's your right. Go stand on the corner with your sign, say your chant, get your point across, record it for TikTok, go home. Don't go out and burn buildings. Don't go out and hurt people. Don't go out and tear things up. Don't go out and kill people. Craziness going on in this world today. Just absolute craziness. I pray for everyone in Minnesota. I pray for everyone in Minnesota. And across the country, because big cities, LA, Chicago, New York, this isn't going to just be contained to Minneapolis. I have a feeling this is going to be this year's George Floyd. There's the video of her after she was shot and ran into the crashed vehicles. It had what Donald Trump said, but it was very, very small. I do have what he said here. Of course, this comes from MSN, so it is really heavily swayed. President Donald Trump weighed in Wednesday afternoon on the ICE shooting of a woman in Minneapolis earlier in the day as she appeared to drive away from federal agents. Notice it didn't say drive into federal agents. I've just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting. Trump's going to Trump. Then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Trump wrote on Truth Social, directly contradicting a statement from Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara. Based on the attached clip, it's hard to believe he is alive. But it is believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied entirely, but the reason these incidents are happening is because radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They're just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers in this radical left movement of violence and hate, concluded Trump. Every once in a while, you just want to go, shut up, Trump. Shut up, Trump. You know, like when, I can't remember their name. The son killed the two people with a knife, and he was a leftist, and Donald Trump made a comment on it, and it was absolutely insane. I can't remember. My mind's blank right now. It's been a long day. So the police chief O'Hara spoke at a press conference earlier in the day and said, we arrived and found a woman with a gunshot wound to the head. Life-saving measures were performed at the scene, including CPR. The woman is transported to Hennepin County Medical Center, where she has since been pronounced deceased. The preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue, midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed into the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene and assisted in trying to preserve the evidence that's there. His information doesn't seem to be correct, because we saw the video multiple times with 3 gunshots. She didn't hit into the side of the roadway. She ran into another car. Of course, this is probably earlier in the day when information was still being gathered and everything like that. Pastor Ed, you are back. Can you hear us?
I hear you just fine. Do you hear me?
Good. I hear you just fine. Welcome back. It is good to have you back.
Well, I've tried 3 separate cameras, and this is the first one that I have been able to stay on for any length of time. And thank you for moving things along.
Absolutely.
We've got so many different angles on this. There's anger from Waltz toward DC. There's just no excuse for a mayor that is on a worldwide press conference to drop the F-bomb the way he did. Leaders are supposed to lead, and you don't lead by throwing a temper tantrum. Just think back to 9/11 and whether you like George Bush or not, when he stood out there and was talking, people listened and they believed that he was the one who was going to help the country get through that situation. And he did. And so you get the mayor, and you'll get a chance to hear that again because I put that as our outro for tonight.
Good deal.
I do I.
I said, good deal, because that needs to be seen. That needs to go down in history because that man, just like Waltz, got up in front of the world and incited violence. And I think because they are leaders, they should set the example that if anything happens tonight, tomorrow, in the next coming weeks, years, months, whatever, they should be held accountable. Plain and simple.
Well, let's look at the difference with Speaker of the House Johnson.
I just saw the disturbing video. Obviously, it's a serious situation. There's going to be a full investigation, as we all know and expect. Look, it appears to us, I guess, anybody who sees the video from certain angles that the driver of the vehicle weaponized that vehicle against law enforcement officers and against bystanders. It was a dangerous situation. People make snap judgments in those situations, and it's a really sad outcome. Look, I do think that it's right. I think I guess maybe it was Homeland or someone put out a statement that this clearly appears to be the result of this just months-long rhetoric against law enforcement and people encouraging that kind of violence. And so we call upon all the citizens of Minneapolis to be calm. We don't want anyone to be hurt. We need law enforcement to be able to do their jobs, and it's a terrible situation. But we await.
That's a leader, right there.
I mean, do we need to even say any more on that part? I mean, we just seen the difference between. I mean, I'll go as far as to say a Christian conservative, because if you know anything about Mike Johnson, you know he's a very firm believer in the Christian way of living, and I
liberal leftist Looney Tunes like Governor Waltz and Mayor Twinkletoes.
Fry. Mayor Fry, or Twinkletoes sounds better actually, but so there's that angle. There is whether he meant to do anything or not. Waltz has to know that if he starts threatening with the National Guard, that's going to be taken. Tomorrow, we're going to hear him say he did not threaten to turn the National Guard loose on the federal government. Yeah. Okay, well, you play word games. You go ahead, play word games. Your word games.
You were going to get into this.
Your word games have already gotten a woman killed.
Yep.
Today, your word games. Do you really want to be responsible for boots on the ground civil war actually taking place? I certainly hope that's not the case, that you would want that, but how ironic it would be to have a stolen valor person to incite the next civil war. Let that sink in for a second.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Stolen valor? Not Tim Waltz. Come on. He stood there in what Tiananmen Square. Wasn't he the guy that stood in front of the tank and put his hand up, you know?
Yeah, I rewatched that video of the congresswoman who is at Mace and grilling him. And she grilled him on all that. Tiananmen Square.
Nancy Mace, I absolutely adore her. She is phenomenal.
Yes, she is.
As long as she doesn't turn out to be the next Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I can see that happening. But as of right now, I adore her.
Yes. Let's look at a couple of Kristi Noem videos.
Yes.
One is earlier in the day when the incident had just happened. The second one was later in the day. One is with a cowboy hat. One is with a ball cap.
You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased.
Sounds like she has a lot of good information. It sounds like she was
And that
briefed properly.
and that was very early on. Here is later in the day.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to start out by addressing the loss of life that we saw here in Minneapolis today. Any loss of life is a tragedy, and I think all of us can agree that in this situation it was preventable. I've spoken to the president today on the situation here on the ground. I also just got off the phone a little while ago with Governor Walz and spoke to him as well. I want to reiterate first with all of you the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family. I encourage the American people at this point in time to pray for him, but also to pray for the deceased's family and her loved ones. Today alone in this country, there have been 4 different domestic terrorist attacks on federal officers by the ramming of vehicles. 3 of them happened here.
You know, there for a little bit, I was starting to not like her. I liked her in the beginning. Then I was starting to not like her because there's nothing coming out with the Epstein files, this fraud in Minneapolis, there's several other things. But that speech right there, I'm back on her team. She had some information right there.
Well, she was a leader here. She was calm. She talked about the victim's family. She talked the same as Speaker Johnson said. You know, she obviously weaponized her vehicle. I don't know how you can say that she did anything other, because when you listen to the videos, the ones that are in normal speed, you can hear her. You as you're watching, you see her back up a little bit, kind of like to get a running start, and she throws it back into drive, and you can hear how much power that car, I mean, you can hear it revved up and ready to take off. And you know, the whole taser thing, we talked about that earlier. We're talking about a 1/10 of a second that this guy had to make a decision. And we're also
unfortunately,
talking,
a lot of law enforcement too, they're normally trained to go to their gun. Tasers are a newer thing. Every law enforcement officer carried a firearm. So tasers are a newer thing, and there's been, unfortunately, a lot of instances where law enforcement meant to go for their taser and actually went for their handgun, and instead of tasing, they fired, and several people have been killed. But it looked to me like this guy was in front of the vehicle, so if he would have shot a taser, it bounced off the glass.
yeah, I mean, the only one that had a shot at a taser was the guy that was reaching in the vehicle. But again, in a 1/10 of a second, his arm is inside the vehicle, and I could easily seen, had the shots not been fired, her dragging him down the street, his arm hanging out of the window.
We can keep talking. I just wanted to show this so that we get something visual
Yeah.
going on here.
You know, right there, his arm could have gotten stuck. And in that, there's one angle that almost shows perfectly that she was trying to run that officer down that actually did the shooting.
She actually did hit him hard. And then the other officer that had his hands in the windows, he slipped. And now they mentioned several times about the adverse weather conditions. It looks like there's ice.
Well, I mean, they probably slid off the road. I mean, they were stuck. And I kind of heard somebody, I don't know, watched so much stuff on it earlier today, kind of like sneering, like they ran off the road. If you live in a place where there's snow, more than likely you have run off the road and or maybe gotten stuck in your own driveway. So, the fact that somebody runs off the road, is just things that happen. You know, law enforcement is no different than anybody else. If you can slide around a corner and off into the grass with snow several inches high, then a police officer can do the same thing.
This is just another angle.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrifying from every angle possible. It's horrifying that the woman got shot and killed. It's horrifying that she tried to kill an ICE officer.
Right there. And if you're on a phone, it's probably really, really hard to see, but that's him bouncing off of her bumper.
I mean, he's lucky he didn't get knocked to the ground, head going backwards, bouncing off of the pavement. And, you know, I don't know that taser is actually even in the conversation.
Mary asked, did he have a taser? It's possible. I'm not 100% positive. I would say yes. But in this instance, it was a vehicle, and the driver had all kinds of cover. There would only be a small portion of where he could point that taser. Now, what happens when you shoot a taser? It shoots two prongs, and basically it's designed to hit you in the shoulder and kind of in the butt. And then that charge comes from that taser to those two prongs, and it shoots through. So if he would have put a taser, number one, the first guy, it would have bounced off the windshield. Zero affection. And it would have had zero effect. The second guy who was there at the window, he could have fired a taser, but he would have hit her in the head. And these prongs are barbed. They're like fish hooks. So that they go in and they kind of curve into your skin, so that way it holds for that shock to occur. It generally takes a medic to get them out. I couldn't imagine being shot in the head with that. I would think that would have been fatal as well. Don't quote me on that, but literally there was no opportunity. There was just the driver's side window that they could have fired, and now what they can do is they can take the cartridge off, and they could have touched her, but in that 1/10 of a second, I say he made the right call. Her tires were pointed straight at the officer. Absolutely. And I'm sure all this footage will be taken into consideration when it comes to if they're going to arrest the guy or not, fire him, whatever. But one thing I do guarantee you is what protesters and the left and the governor and the mayor and yada, 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 they're not going to take that into consideration. Absolutely not. They're not going to take it into consideration, and they're just going to make things worse.
Well, the making things worse is for sure. I don't know. You would think that somebody would pull them off to the side, so to speak, and say, there's just certain things in life you can't say. I mean, we have now the 3 different angles that we've looked at tonight. There'll be more. I'm sure there'll be more people that their video gets put out. And, you know, the comment from the mayor came when I think that there was just one video out, and it was from the side of the car where you really couldn't see what happened. Now you could hear that one pretty well as what the bystanders were saying, what the officer himself was saying. You know, and here's another important part of this story. She wasn't part of their action. They weren't after her. They weren't going to arrest her. She was there to cause trouble. She was there
literally
to make their job more difficult. And it's back to the FAFO. You know, I don't mean to sound like I don't care anything about her, but you can't do the kind of stuff that, I mean, that's Antifa tactics. I ain't saying she's part of Antifa, but that's Antifa tactics. And you can't do those kind of things and expect everything to go hunky dory. It just ain't going to happen that way. And, you know, I almost dread listening to the media for the next month, because they're going to be,
oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, think about the officer that had his knee on George Floyd. You know, this officer, you're going to be able to compare to that. You know, well, he could have not fired. Yeah, he could have gotten killed too. You know, in 1/10 of a second, even though she was pointed directly for him, what if she would have turned it a little bit to the left, and that would have guaranteed she was going to hit him? I mean, she hit him anyway.
And we got another question. A very good question. What about pepper spray? Yeah. Another very good question from Michael. What about pepper spray? If that officer's outside the car, pepper spray would have worked well. In that instance, had it been a little bit of time, they were sitting there talking to her, stops, you know, before she was in reverse and then threw it into drive and took off. Had there been some time, like she was sitting there talking to them, pepper spray would have been 100% effective.
Yep.
Pepper spray, you have to pull it, shake it, put your hand in there, because sometimes it's not twisted right. I know for a fact I used it today myself. Twist it, put your finger in, and spray it. That if they had more time, absolutely. He didn't give them that time.
No, I mean,
she did not give him that time.
When it's reaction, life or death reaction, I'm pretty sure I'm going for the weapon.
Absolutely. And like a lot of people have said, she weaponized that vehicle. If it were me, I'd have gone with the handgun as well. I'm not going to mess with my pepper spray, shaking it, putting my finger in the slot and then spraying it.
You'd have been dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So the guy standing there at her window, like I said, had she given them more time, yeah, they could have gone less lethal. But 1/10 of a second, how long does it take you to shift from reverse to drive and put your foot on from the brake to the gas pedal? Most of us don't even think about that. That's just a reaction because we do it every day, you know. So it takes no time to put your foot on the brake, pull your shifter knob into drive, and then switch from your brake pedal to the gas pedal. It's a fraction of a second, and it's muscle memory for 90% of the people. Unfortunately, she made the conscious choice to hit them. I'm not sure. He made the unconscious choice to do that. I'm not sure. Christy Nome said that she had been protesting all day, following them around, harassing them. My first guess is she consciously put it in drive and moved her foot from the brake pedal to the gas pedal.
Well, I'm not sure with you not being able to watch all day long. If you watch the one video back further, she's actually setting crossways in the road.
Yeah.
The rest of the traffic is going one direction. She is almost T-boning that line of traffic. And so she wasn't just trying to blend in. She
was harassing them then, right?
Yes, there's no doubt. There is no doubt.
Well, that's what Christy Nome said, that she had been following him around all day, harassing him and everything. So I don't think that was an unconscious act. I think ICE got sick of it. We're trying to get her out of the vehicle. She ignored a lawful order, and she tried to get away. She FO'd and FA'd.
Well,
it's been a long day.
Yeah. And that's where that goes. She may not have intended to try to kill the guy.
Yeah.
That may not have been her. Yeah. But I'm almost certain that she was trying to scare them, trying to intimidate them. And that's where the FAFO comes in. You can't just do those kind of things and think there's not consequences. That's the one girl that was talking in the video that you played.
Right
there's
there,
consequences.
Right there from Bill and Tanya read that one of the people filming was the girl in the car's girlfriend. Very well possible. Doesn't anybody else have anything to do on a Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning than to harass ICE officers? Didn't they have a job to go to, or kids to tend to, or couldn't they have gone to the library or something instructive with their day? They had to go around and chase ICE officers and harass them all day long.
Well, and I just keep thinking of things that one place in the press conference with Walz, he said about the National Guard, they will be there with no masks on. Now,
good for them.
As in to say that, I don't know.
And to say they're willing to show their faces and not like the coward ICE agents who cover theirs.
Yeah, that's kind of how I take that. And with video being what it is today, and if the ICE agents didn't have their face covered, their families would be in so much jeopardy that.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. That's why they do that. They're not doing it so they're all covert ninjas or whatever. They're doing it to protect themselves and their family, because at some point they're going to be off the clock, and at some point some lunatic, leftist, blue-haired screwball, lunatic wants to go after them or something, or with AI and visual searches, and they can take a picture of them, put it into AI, find out who they are, find out who their family is, and go hurt their family.
Absolutely. I mean, that's as old as, you think about old mobsters and stuff like that. What would they do? They'd go, maybe they wouldn't kill the person, they'd go kill their family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was that. They wouldn't kill the person, they could kill their family. And Bill and Tanya right here. Is Walt saying the National Guard would go against ICE and against our government? I really hope he meant that he was. Go ahead. You knew more about it than I do.
He would say no. But there's just certain things. He makes sure he says, we put out a warning order. Now, that sounds much worse than what it is. A warning order is actually alerting the National Guard people that they may be called up. Here's your warning. You may be called up ASAP. I think he was trying to make it that the National Guard would be available if there was riots and things like that.
I really, truly hope he wasn't trying to put the National Guard versus ICE agents.
Well, that's where I say that tomorrow he's going to say, there ain't no way that's what I meant. Well, then you should be more, if you can't, get across what you mean in subjects like this, then you need to just shut up. Get out of the limelight.
Do what Christy Nome did. Show up and give the information. Say a prayer for the family and for the deceased and for the injured, and get out.
And I know this is early on, and we're probably more opinionated tonight than what we normally are when something just takes place. But there's no doubt what the mayor said. There's no doubt what the governor said. There is some doubt about what he intended that to mean. There's no way to know if the girl intentionally was trying to kill them. And there's no way that the officers could have used anything other than lethal in this situation. When you talk about less lethal, and if you watch On Patrol Live and those kind of shows, you'll always see that as the officers are approaching something and they're basically making a plan. You've got lethal, you've got less lethal, you've got taser.
Yes, yes.
You've got the beanbag weapon.
You've got the shotgun, that kind of thing.
And so those officers, when they got out of their truck, they didn't get out with their weapons drawn. He had to draw his weapon as it was happening. It wasn't that they went out and said, we're going to kill somebody. That didn't happen.
If that was their goal, they'd have gotten out with their hands on their guns. Absolutely. I didn't see that, and I didn't think about that, but you are absolutely right. So you can't sit there and tell me that they had every intention to kill that woman. They did not. Absolutely not.
If she would have just put her car in park, she would be alive.
She'd just put her foot on the brake, she'd be alive.
Yep.
She'd have listened to him when they said stop. She'd have listened to him when they said get the F out of the car multiple times.
Yep.
She'd be alive. And unfortunately, I don't have any information on her. I don't know if she's a mother. She's obviously a daughter, a sister, a cousin. She's something to somebody. I'm sorry, but had she listened, this would not have happened. They had no intentions on doing that until she made the choices she made.
And
somebody lost their life.
As I told you earlier, I'm not the only one that thought that Walt sounded like he was threatening ICE with the National Guard. I really, really, really don't think he meant that. In my heart of hearts, I don't think he meant that. But boy, that's sure how it came across. And Bill and Tanya put there, that's how I took it. He was pitting National Guard against ICE.
That's how I took it, because that was the first time I heard it, and that's the first thing that went through my mind. It's like they're basically, I mean, they're one's law enforcement, one's military. They're all government employees. Why they're all there for the same goal, the benefit of America. Bill and Tanya right here, her husband passed away, and she moved in and got a girlfriend, and then said that one of the videos was taken by the girlfriend. So obviously she meant something to somebody, and that's terrible. Mom of 3. Oh my Lord, I didn't see that one. Wow. Well,
there's no winners in this situation. There's no winners in these situations.
No.
Everybody loses. And then there was a video. Let me see if I think this. It's about what Trump said, but I think if you at the beginning, listen to what they have to say.
All right, and Laura, this is what President Trump just posted. I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the clip, hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its...
Okay, that I was watching that live, and Laura Ingraham had a lot to say about what's led up to this, the rhetoric from the left, the go lower and, all of that stuff that's been going on for a long time. And, you can blame President Trump for a lot of things. President Trump did not tell ICE to open fire. President Trump has not been inciting violence. Now, people might say, well, by putting ICE there, he's inciting violence. No, he put ICE there to do their job. There's a big difference between saying confront people than that is to say, ICE, go do your job and round up illegal immigrants. It's a lot different than going to Minnesota and Minneapolis and investigating the fraud that's gone on. Don't blame that crap on us, because it belongs right in their lap. And as we said,
He just disappeared, as he said, and then disappeared. So I guess you got to deal with my ugly mug. That's all right. So Mama here, she says she took a 16,000-pound car.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You disappeared all of a sudden. You're back now, though. You're back now. We see and hear you. Let's see here. I got another clip of the governor. Here's. Oh, you got more to say? You cut out again. There you are.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Here's a clip of I guess this is the mayor. Mayor Twinkle Toes.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. Having them there was only causing more chaos. Having them there was only making a difficult situation even more problematic, and one that, yes, they created themselves. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here.
That guy's got such a foul mouth. I don't even know anymore. Are you back with us, Pop? Maybe. Maybe not. I guess it's just back to me. I don't know what's going on tonight, but everybody needs to say a little prayer to pray away the demons that are kicking our butts here at Red, White, and True. So I tell you one thing, if it ain't one thing, it's another with our internet or our cameras or something. One of these days, we'll we'll be all right. But until then, just please forgive us and stand by, stick with us, pray for us, and love us like we love you, our viewers. Are you back now? I see him, and I sort of hear him, but that's all we got. Still just pulling things here, looking around, looking at all the news. Just like the other day, just trying to get all the information coming at us from each every direction. We've been live for an hour and 7 minutes, 43 seconds. I appreciate each and every one of you here with us tonight, dealing with technical issues and having to listen to my voice. But I think we're kind of at a good stopping point. Right here. Demons don't like the truth. Our Facebook is at it again. And that I have noticed that on the Red, White, and True Facebook, we are not live for some reason. So evil forces against us or something.
I think I might be back.
Hey, there you are. We can hear you and see you.
Yeah. It's always interesting. We don't usually have problems with audio or video or any technical issues on a night where we're just having fun and, making jokes.
Like that, yeah.
It's usually on nights like tonight. So I think Bill and Tanya nailed this one right on the head. So I'm just going to say good night to everybody and wave and let Ronnie take us out of here. Since I'm using my phone as my third backup tonight, it's plugged in. So I got to hold it with one hand. So I won't even be able to do the air guns any justice.
I tell you what,
tonight.
that StreamYard does kill your battery, don't it? I've done it on the phone once, and I was literally watching it was going 20, 19, 18, 17 as I was talking. I don't know, it's something about StreamYard just to eat your battery life for lunch. But we appreciate everybody being here. We truly do. We love each and every one of you. We thank you. I'd like to thank everybody who sent videos, helped us, sent news stories. We love it. We love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. And as the man says, get out there and please, Minneapolis, if you're listening, please go out there and do the right thing. Good night.